This is ABC 15 Mornings Breaking News.
And it has been a busy morning here at ABC 15 as we are tracking multiple breaking news stories for you this morning. We want to thank you for joining us. I'm Jamie Warren, and we do begin with an apartment complex on fire right now near 27th Avenue and Indian School Road. We want you to take a good look at your screen and the map here that we're about to show you, as there are intense flames that are multiple feet high, ripping through the roof of that complex. In fact, Phoenix Fire has confirmed with us that they have deployed a defensive strategy, and ladder trucks as well are being used for the, quote, what they're calling a big water operation. Our team is also working to get details on if anyone was inside when that fire first broke out. ABC 15's Nick Saletti, by the way, he is on scene right now. He's been speaking with people who had to evacuate that building. We'll be checking in with him here in just a bit. We also want to get out to an active police investigation. This one near 7th Avenue in Southern. Our Jordan Bonke on scene there. Now, this began nearly 8 hours ago or so, and we're getting an update now from officers on scene. Jordan, what have you been able to learn out there?
Just before 8 o'clock is when police came to this area not far from 7th Avenue and Southern. And what's telling to us right now is the mobile command unit is still there. We don't have any lights on for any of the police cars like there were last night, but that mobile command unit providing the resources for officers, surveillance and databases that they need to investigate a crime. One police officer had told us early this morning, and they're the ones that are just standing outside the crime scene right now, just to make sure nobody gets inside. They just said one person was shot. They didn't know much more than that. We're hoping to get more from police after the 6 o'clock hour this morning and once the sun starts to rise here. But one thing that is also kind of interesting about this scene, and again, a lot of people wanting to know what happened here, is that there's layers of a crime scene here. It's not only this street that's blocked off, but the one that's over, that's just not far from it at all. It seems to be the focus on that house there. There's police tape that's right in front of the pillars of the home as well. 2 people, since we've been out here before 4 o'clock, have already come up to us asking us what happened. One person said, I have kids and I really want to know if it is safe right now to be in this community. We've asked those questions, police. Once we get more information, we'll bring you the very latest. But a police investigation involving what one officer right now tells us, one person was shot. Not much more information than that right now, but this is a very long.
Yeah, and Jordan, anytime we see that behind you, we know that this is something serious. We know that you will stay out there and work to get some answers for neighbors who clearly have a lot of questions this morning. Thank you for that reporting. We do want to reset now, as the time right now is 4:32 here on your Wednesday, and we turn things over to our meteorologist Jorge Torres, who has been tracking what I've been calling kind of a roller coaster of a forecast this past week. I mean, we had nice temperatures. Now we're back in record territory again. I mean, what's going on here, Jorge?
Yeah, it's been a lot here over the past several days, Jamie. We did have the rain earlier in the week. Yesterday, highs only in the 70s. It was a pleasant Tuesday. Today, we're starting off on the mild side across the valley now, generally in the upper 40s as you head toward Anthem now at 433, and everyone else in the upper 50s to lower 60s, including Goodyear at 60 and Ahwatukee at 61. Northern Arizona temperatures are as cold as 29 along the south rim of the Grand Canyon. As you head toward Prescott, Payson, and Sedona, we are in the 40s and 50s and 60s across the lower desert still. But later on today, we'll be climbing quite a bit. We'll be in the mid-70s, in fact, by midday, and forecasting a high at 84 degrees, several degrees above average. But you know what? Compared to what we are expecting later this week, can't complain about this forecast, because starting tomorrow and beyond, Jamie, not only are we talking about 90s and potentially some record highs, but even the 100s in your 7-day forecast. Stay tuned.
Okay, we'll be preparing for that. Thank you for that, Jorge. We do want to get now to the war in Iran, and oil prices once again volatile after the U.S. Energy Secretary took down a post on social media about protecting ships. The Pentagon says that U.S. forces are stepping up attacks on Iranian ships to protect oil tankers. And the move all comes with gas prices here at home rising more than 50 cents just within the last week. Here's ABC's Marcus Moore with the very latest.
This morning, new video from Central Command shows multiple strikes on Iranian Navy vessels. U.S. officials say 16 mine-laying vessels were destroyed near the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has reportedly been planning to use mines to disrupt oil shipments. President Trump warning if for any reason mines were placed, the military consequences to Iran will be at a level never seen before. The strikes on Iranian ships coming on what officials describe as the most intense day of the war so far.
The most fighters, the most bombers, the most strikes. Intelligence more refined, and better than ever.
The U.S. and Israel hammering Iran, where local officials say more than 1,200 people have now been killed. The White House insists U.S. attacks are focusing on military targets. But Iran's Persian Gulf neighbors, from Saudi Arabia to Turkey, are still intercepting missiles and drones. And we're learning more about the drone strike that killed 6 U.S. troops at a base in Kuwait.
Kind of looked around and I saw everything was just smoke and fire and crazy and chaos.
Minnesota Army Sergeant First Class Corey Hicks describing to ABC affiliate KSTP the moment that drone came crashing in.
I remember turning my head to the left and I seen the nose of that drone pop through. And as soon as it did, I knew what it was. It was either a missile or a drone. So I turned to my right, and that's when it blew up and just blew the whole building apart.
He's one of the estimated 140 U.S. service members injured in this war so far.
Life is precious. Life is short. You never know when you're going to be put in a situation like we were in.
Back in Iran, another sign of defiance, a police official posting a chilling message to any potential protesters demanding regime change. The official saying that police will have their hand on the trigger. Marcus Moore, ABC News, Doha.
And as we have covered extensively, the war in Iran is hitting Americans hard at the gas pump. In fact, the national average for gas is now $3.57 a gallon, up 63 cents in just a matter of days. Diesel costs are also surging, and experts are warning that rising transportation costs could drive up prices for food, goods, and even construction projects.
Rest assured to the American people, the recent increase in oil and gas prices is temporary, and this operation will result in lower gas prices in the long term.
The International Energy Agency has proposed its largest ever release of oil reserves to bring down crude prices that have soared since the war began. And checking in on our gas prices right here in the Valley, it is not painting a pretty picture. That state average is now above the dreaded $4 mark. In Maricopa County, prices are just nearly touching $4.30. But we do want you to stick with us because we will continue to cover the conflict in the Middle East and also more on how it's affecting us here at home as it continues to unfold. We do want to get to other news now at 4:37. We are now learning more about that Northern Arizona University student who died after a hazing incident involving a fraternity back in January. 18-year-old Colin Daniel Martinez was on his way to becoming a Delta Delta fraternity member at NAU when he was found dead in late January. Now, court documents are showing that Martinez and 3 other pledges had been playing a drinking game where they were required to finish an entire handle of vodka among them. An autopsy report is showing that Martinez had a blood alcohol level of 0.425%. That is more than 5 times Arizona's legal limit for driving.
Unfortunately, this is a hazing outcome that I've seen many times before. I've had other hazing cases where the blood alcohol was exactly the same as this one.
And the university suspended that fraternity after that incident. The national organization closed the chapter entirely soon after. 3 of the chapter leaders were arrested on suspicion of hazing and faced charges in Martinez's death. Well, this week officially marks 2 months now since Isabella Comas was last seen. And we are now learning the person of interest in the 21-year-old's disappearance has been released from custody. Tommy Rodriguez is currently only charged with stealing and damaging Comas's car, which was found abandoned in Phoenix. Now, you might recall it had a substantial amount of blood inside. Rodriguez has been in custody since mid-January. ABC 15 was told that Rodriguez was a romantic interest, but court documents are revealing that the pair only knew each other for a few short months. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office says that Rodriguez was released on Monday and is being electronically monitored with an upcoming court date next week. ABC 15 sat down with Avondale Police to discuss this case. You could watch that interview in its entirety in a special episode of Arizona Crime Uncovered that's streaming right now on our ABC 15 app. Well, this morning we are learning more about that deadly helicopter crash of a DPS chopper known as Ranger 56 over Flagstaff. The NTSB releasing a preliminary report. Investigators finding no evidence that the helicopter was shot down. What that means is that they found no bullets, metal fragments, or anything to suggest that it was struck from the ground. The report is detailing the final seconds right before that crash, an unidentified sound on the radio, then 2 loud bangs from that aircraft. Trooper paramedic Hunter Bennett's last words over the radio were, "We're going down." The tail section showed impact marks that were consistent with being struck by the helicopter's own rotor blades, pointing to a catastrophic in-flight breakup.
There are a lot of points of potential failure. They are very reliable because they're maintained so well, but on occasion, and this may be one of them, no conclusion should be drawn yet, but on occasion, there are failures in gears and transmissions.
And our aviation expert, who you just heard from, says that the evidence is pointing towards mechanical failure, not pilot error. Exactly what caused the crash, though, still remains unanswered. The NTSB's final report is expected within 2 years from now. Well, here in the Valley, the city of Scottsdale is hosting a meeting this week to reveal its design plans for a 3-story parking garage in the Old Town area. Plans for its construction are moving forward now, and that's despite pushback from the community. The garage has been under scrutiny since it was approved back in 2019. 5 years later, the city council gave the green light to build the second level of that parking corral. And this February, city council approved 2 additional levels. That meeting open to the public and will be held at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. We will have a team out there to report back with what we find out. Uplifting Arizona this morning, the Peoria Police Department is teaming up with Special Olympics Arizona, to host the West Valley Law Enforcement Torch Run. This is happening from 11 to 2:30. It starts at Rio Vista Park. It'll end at the Peoria Sports Complex, and that's just in time for the Rockies versus Mariners spring training game happening as well. Now, discounted tickets, they're available for those who want to catch the game afterwards, with 50% of the sales benefiting Special Olympics Arizona. Well, time right now is 4:42, and still ahead here on ABC 15 Mornings. An AI company is suing the Pentagon, arguing that the government is punishing it for how it wants its technology used. The case that could reshape AI in the military, coming up.